drinking coffee is because as you wake up, if you had never drunk coffee, what happens to all of our kids who don't drink coffee is they wake up and that chemical that was keeping you asleep all night slowly wears away. And so what happens and then they're good for the day, and that chemical creeps back up into or that hormone creeps back up into their body, makes them sleepy at night. Well, what we do is we wake up and we drink the coffee. So then, even though it's not affecting our cortisol, because our cortisol is already up, what it does is it cuts that natural sleepy hormone right out of there, and we feel super awake and ready to go. If we consistently do this, what happens is our body goes, I don't need to worry about getting it out of the system. She's going to drink that cup of coffee. So then it takes longer and longer for your body to naturally get rid of that hormone that sleepy hormone in your body. So that's why if you you used to drink coffee quite consistently and you decided that's it, I'm not going to drink coffee, you're going to have a week, 10 days. I mean, everybody has different levels of toxicity in their body, so that means that they detox at different rates. But you give yourself that sort of time to clear your system out, and then your body goes, okay, I'm going to have to clear this hormone out all by myself. And your body will come back to its natural state, just like what our kids are doing. So it takes time because we've conditioned our body, but it will recover. It's super powerful. It's really good at recovery. Yeah.
Does that happen also with tea? Because it's caffeine, right? Not coffee.
That's true. It's caffeine. It's not coffee. Not all tea is caffeinated. So if you're drinking a herbal tea, then you get all the great, anti-inflammatory benefits of herbal tea and none of the caffeine. But it is in tea and in soft drinks and in lots of the sports energy drinks, and there's lots of caffeine in those things. There's caffeine sometimes in chocolate bars, have caffeine in them. It can just be in more than just coffee for sure. So this brings me to, no matter what you've eaten today or drank today, you have so many more chances to feed yourself and create good bacteria and a good beneficial microbiome that sends positive brain signals and not only keeps us healthy but also thriving and enjoying the choices that we make, right? When we make these good choices, we feel good, we get the right hormonal reactions, and we don't feel any guilt about our food, we don't feel any guilt about our choices. And that also benefits our hormonal responses and our overall state of mental health and well-being. So removing that part of it, the guilt part of eating, also helps with our mental health when we feel really good about the choices that we've made. So our microbiome isn't going to change overnight. You're not going to go home and eat a bunch of fruits and vegetables and go, okay, awesome, now all it wants to eat is fiber. But the good news is you're only 7 to 10 days away from that change. Our body, like I said, is really good at healing. And in a very short period of time, that gut bacteria, it can only live on what you feed it. So if you change the foods that you're feeding it, and you change the foods that are feeding your kids' gut bacteria, those are going to change, and those are going to create new, strong, and beneficial chemical and hormonal reactions. That's all I have for you guys tonight. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions or expand on anything you'd like to know about.
So is our body inherently flawed that we want to eat these junk foods?
So she said, is our body floored that we want to eat junk food?
Because it gives me pleasure to have a chocolate bar and a glass of wine.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, you started that at some point, right? And it's not about, so something that I believe in, something that we do in our family, and something that I tell my clients is, it's kind of the 80-20 rule. So if 80% of what you give your body is making it thrive and is beneficial for it and is healing for your body, then that 20% is going to be the minority in there. That one chocolate bar in your whole day of eating, that's not going to be what creates your gut bacteria. That's just like a little addition to your life, right? So it's not like cut everything out, never eat a piece of candy. It's like, let's take a step back. Look at the overall picture. What have I fed myself today? Did I just have that chocolate bar? Or did I have that chocolate bar, and then I went for some fries, and then I had some wine, and then I had some chicken wings, and it was like, you know, is it one thing or is it all 6 things that you ate today, kind of thing. So it's really about balance, but it's also about like lifestyle and mental balance, but it's about the majority being on that like feeding your body and thriving at scale of it. Yeah?
How is stress and cortisol tends to be related to weight gain, especially in women around the waist? Why does that happen?
Well, when you're stressed and your cortisol levels are high, then your metabolism is going to slow down because that's a survival instinct. So cortisol is a survival instinct, and slowing your metabolism is also a survival instinct because stress means that you've got more going on, and it's going to hold on to the nourishment that you need, so that because it doesn't know for sure when it's going to get more, right? I mean, it can be a little bit overreactive the way maybe I've explained it, but that's what your body's thinking inside, is that it needs to protect itself and go into survival mode, because high cortisol levels in your body's language equals survival mode. And weight is beneficial for survival if we don't know when our next meal's coming. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah?
So you talked about carbs, you talked about balance.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't mentioned anything about protein. And my understanding is you need to have all 3 for a balanced diet.
Right.
And keep your blood sugar level, you eat 3, this is what I do, I eat 3 to 4 hours every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I always have protein and fat in the proper balance.
Yeah.
But you've mentioned nothing about protein. Protein
Okay.
fuels your muscles.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're right. I didn't outline protein. I guess I feel that, well, there's protein in all of the foods that I pointed out that were good for us today. It's essential, obviously, but it's not something that I feel like is lacking in people's diets. I don't think that there's a lot of evidence or a lot of situations where people are not getting enough protein. And so maybe I could have spoken about the fact that there's all of these great foods that do contain protein, and it is an essential part of a balanced diet, absolutely. But it's not something that people aren't getting enough of, really. Yeah?
Any tips on getting kids to eat healthier food?
Getting kids to eat healthier food. Yeah, I mean, she said, any tips on getting kids to eat healthier food? And that's going to be very kid specific, obviously, because of the age of the child and sort of the precedent that they feel has been set in their home. One simple tip that I try to remember every time I grocery shop is that if I don't buy it, they can't beg me for it. Like, if it's not in the cupboard, like, they can ask me for, a granola bar all day long, and if they're not in the cupboard, then we don't have to have a fight about it. So I do treat my kids, and I try to save these fun foods for different occasions, as opposed to having them as staples in the cupboard that we're constantly battling balance over. And then getting the kids involved if they're old enough to become involved. That can look a little bit boring, I've realized, when I put that into practice, just because, my daughter would like to have corn and baby carrots at every meal, and I don't want to eat that all the time, but it is nice that sometimes she does get to have her own selection. And then also creating snacks that you feel good about and they feel treated about. So like, I have a cookie recipe that I don't even know if it should be called a cookie. It's definitely in the shape of a cookie, and I put some chocolate chips in there, but it doesn't have anything in your body. It doesn't have anything in the recipe that you wouldn't want to feed your kids. Like, they could literally eat it for breakfast. It's just like nuts and dates and raisins and oatmeal and, these kinds of things, so that it's like they're thinking they're eating a cookie, and I'm thinking I win the battle. Good? Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out. I really appreciate you taking interest in this.
Thank you.